Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Good Marshals Universal podcast. I'm Dan Bernardo. My illustrious guests, Keith Mosier, Bo Davis. So today, I want to discuss a topic that I think might be fun. Is the phrase, if you aren't cheating, you aren't winning.
Nemesis of mine for decades.
All right, well then you go first.
I hate that phrase. I hate it with a passion. I heard it. It doesn't matter who you heard it from. Obviously somebody said it first. Who I don't know who that is, but to me it gives. Words have power, and it teaches the wrong lesson. Entirely the wrong lesson. Quite simply, if you cheat, did you actually win? If you cheat, was it a win or a steal?
What are we calling a win? Is the win just the objective of winning the competition?
The win is the objective. Okay, winning is the objective. Now,
what are you winning, though?
What are you winning? And you have different contests. So in the case of, let's start with the grandiose idea of a street fight. If you're cheating, you're not winning. Or you can't win unless you cheat, however you want to phrase it. With a street fight, you can't cheat.
Because there are no rules.
Right. So that phrase has no meaning. Mm-hmm. It's actually null and void. Because if there are no rules, it's impossible to cheat. So you can only apply that phrase where there are rules. Well, if you've broken the rules, have you actually won?
Okay, so I'm going to immediately challenge you on this because I love breaking rules and I love rules that aren't there.
Well, if a rule's not there, you're not breaking it.
Yes.
You haven't
rules
broken the
there
rules.
is different.
Therefore, if it's not there, it hasn't been broken.
But
therefore, you have not cheated.
Without cheaters, and I think there should be professional cheaters. Right?
There are. They're called politicians. I mean,
yeah, pretty much. But if you're cheating with a goal and you accomplish your goal because you cheated, you won. You won your goal. You won. Screw the match. That's not why you were there. You were trying to cheat.
Semantics.
You didn't care about the. You didn't care about the. It's not semantics. No, it's not semantics. I've gone to tournament and I've explicitly just done bullshit, and it's helped people.
It's partly semantics, but it's also you may have won in the accomplishment of your own goal.
Yes.
But compared to everybody else who's involved, because it must be a ruled event, you're the cheater.
But how did it not benefit in the long term if because of my cheatiness now they've got some kind of way around it or they've reworded something? What if I've used my cheating to make their sport better? What if I've used my bullshit to make it better?
That's after the fact.
It is after the fact, but it's absolutely necessary, is it not?
No.
oh, I don't know if it's necessary.
It's not necessary.
Well, if it's not me, it's some other asshole.
No. The individual is not important. If there is something, like you said, a loophole, if there's something that can be exploited, then it's not a cheat, really. And that may advance the sport. But if it's literally, you are not allowed to put your thumb in the guy's eye, and you put your thumb in the guy's eye and say, I won, look, he stopped. Wait a minute, no, that was a cheat. You didn't win, you stole.
If there is a rule in place in which is easily, I'm not going to say exploitable because then it doesn't fall under the rule, but if it's badly worded to the point where it doesn't accomplish the goal, why would I not try to bend or break that rule in order to show them, hey, we might need to correct this?
Give an example.
Okay, so wrestling at Raleigh Open, right? You, in order not to break people or throw them that hard, you couldn't throw them with more than 1 foot off the ground. What did I do? I went and trained throws that hurt just as bad, if not worse, than just picking them up and setting them down. Their goal with the rule was not to have people get hurt. The first thing that happened was I dropped someone on their head. So I'm not cheating, but I'm pushing it, right?
No, I disagree.
That's
No,
not cheating.
It's not cheating.
That's
but I'm
not
pushing
cheating.
it.
No,
No,
that's
that's not cheating. That
Okay.
is
So full
you-
cheat.
Like so, cheating would be. Raleigh Open says you cannot throw people with picking both of their legs up, right?
Yes.
So you get somebody to distract the judges for the second that you
Oh,
pick
okay.
somebody up.
That is
with
that's
the
a
2 feet
lot.
off the ground. That's
a lot.
cheating.
That's a lot of
What
planning.
you're doing is
No.
is finding
So you're talking
loopholes.
intentional, like I'm
know.
like you're planning this out. You're not because I have the thing with turning the back of the head.
I'll
I'll go to throw this, and the back of my head will show. That's against the rules. Do I get carded for it? No. Do I keep doing it? Yes, because I keep scoring.
That is
That is a
that
better
is-
example.
That is a better example.
I had a shit example. That was my fault.
and I think that you doing it and expressing now that you're doing it on purpose, even though you know that it is against the rules,
Yes.
and you're getting points
I'm getting
for it,
points.
and nobody is carding you. That is an issue of judging
Yes.
and you cheating.
Yes. In the end,
I'll give you another.
it's good. It works
I'll,
out.
I'll give you another example. Well, first, back to your first one of dropping them and hurting them. They've set certain levels to keep people from getting hurt, but in a tournament, they're not assuming it's impossible to get hurt.
Yes.
So you hurt them within the rule. That's not the goal of the rule.
Right.
The goal of the rule is we know this will hurt. Don't do that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
They don't have that worded
I'll
out.
give you an example. Whilst judging a tournament or being involved in a tournament, I observed a instructor of a local group of BJJ guys tell one of his students, when you have your back to the judge, grab the guy and put your fingers in his throat, which was illegal.
It is illegal.
And it was an intentional, when the judge is there, give him this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's shitty. You win,
That's
but it's
cheating.
shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But do you
anybody
win?
do you actually win?
Do you actually
Or,
win?
Do you
or it's
win?
like,
Yeah.
okay, the judge gave it to you, but everybody who's going, whoa, or people like me going,
Yeah.
you didn't actually win. If anybody finds out, you're not going to get away with it.
It's true.
They can because that stuff happens. You get medals stripped. You get trophies stripped.
Or think from Star Trek, you have no honor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
it.
even like even in a more I don't want to say concrete way because that's concrete, but it's still sort of elusive.
Some people don't
right?
care whether they have honor.
Some people don't even know what honor is. Right. It's not something that you can touch, but that medal, that is something I can touch. That trophy, that's something I can touch. My scores, my ranking within the system is
Right.
something so I can watch that drop. I can watch somebody take my medal from me, and so
I can be blocked from.
correct. Ever coming back?
We
to that
found it
tournament.
out. We checked the tape. You're never coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So you run a risk with it, obviously.
You always
I
run
mean,
a
that's,
risk,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Well, you're
inherent.
cheating. You're running
Cheating.
a risk.
Yeah, you run a risk.
It is better to lose with honor than to win by cheating.
yeah. And
But
And-
hold on. You
Wait
just
a-
said it. You can win by cheating.
Oh, I didn't say you couldn't
say
win.
you could
just
win,
said.
but is the win
Worth
a
it?
real win?
Is it a win?
You just said it was a win.
And you can also do everything right and still lose.
You can do everything
true.
right and still
Thank you,
lose.
Captain Picard.
Yes, you can do everything
true.
right and still lose.
And that's
you
just the way things are.
You could cheat and win, but is it a real win? If you don't care about honor, respect for your fellow competitors, yeah, you may walk around and think it's a win. But
Right.
to me,
Right.
if I know you cheated, you didn't win. And you will never get respect from
Yeah.
me.
Right.
So my thing is this is subjective? Because with the back of the head thing, I'm not going to stop ever doing this. I'm never
You
going to
will-
stop.
you will
I'm never gonna
stop.
unless
The only way
judges
that
get
you'll
me.
stop is if you start getting banned from tournaments for doing it.
Yeah, I mean that'd
Right.
be it.
but you know that it's cheating, so you're just doing it until
Pretty much.
it's stuck. Yeah. So
Pretty
that
much. I'm not always
And
intentionally
to
doing
me-
it either.
to
It's
me-
just like this move happens, and sometimes this back ahead card gets called. I think it's a bullshit rule, so
To me,
I bought a better helmet.
To me, it's vague. I don't quite understand what you're talking about because you're saying like turning your head.
So I can't.
So, like,
if I'm looking at you, I
they don't
can't
want
do this.
you. They don't want you to get hit in the back of the
head, right?
So you're not supposed to do stuff that you turn. It's kind of like
Okay.
in like growing up in my sport, the points are only in the front. So if you fight always turning
the
your back,
yeah.
it's cheating, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So like there are
It's
there are
cheating,
also
or is
ways-
it also just poor gamesmanship? Because there's
Poor
a
gamesmanship.
slice that's not quite level.
Sometimes there's
and
overcorrection
there's-
of rules that leads
and
to
there's
me getting
always
carded.
sort of this gray area where like you can use rules to your advantage in a tactical way.
Yeah.
For instance, growing up, you were never allowed to kick below the belt. You'd get a warning, right? But if I knew, because you know who you compete against kind of all the time, right? So if I knew that my opponent was a great kicker and loved to what do you call crash.
Yeah.
Immediately, whenever they would say fight, I would jam him with a side kick right in the hip, and I would just smash him. And then I'd go, "Oh, I'm so sorry, you okay?" And then they would go, "Warning." I won that fight because he didn't want to kick anymore. It hurt his hip.
You
blah,
took
blah,
an
blah, blah,
L
blah.
just to keep going. I like that. Yeah.
So but that is a tactical thing.
That's tactical, and it is technically within the prescribed rules. First is a
I
warning.
know that I'll get a warning. I know that it won't affect my outcome, but I know it'll affect his.
Whereas the question would be, would you have done it if they said, "Oh, there's no warning. You do it,
I would not have.
DQ'd, you're out."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would not have. Absolutely
See,
not.
that would be cheating.
Right.
Honey, wave at the church, at the judge, and go, "You-hoo," when
Right.
you see me do this, because then I'm going to give a DQ hit that he won't see.
Right.
So you're taking an L, right? Whether it's a card or what, you knew what you did was against rules. You did it on purpose, right? Because you're fine with just taking the point. Okay. So let's say you're fine with taking a point on a lot of things across this event, right? I guess more so I'm asking how it was ran when you were growing up doing it. If you got a yellow card in fight 1, did that carry over to 3?
No.
Okay.
It's fight,
See,
fight,
we
fight.
get boned.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
argue if they're doing that sort of thing, they are literally thinking about what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're saying, okay, there are people who cheat on a regular basis. No,
not everybody
once
who
once
watches
you're
this is gonna
once
know
you're
that you-
caught, once you're caught, it carries forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that then begs the question: if you're cheating, are you winning? If
Yeah.
you're cheating,
Right.
you may not be able to win because
Right.
it carries
Because
forward.
I can go to Queen's
Even-
Gambit and if it were a karate tournament and I could do that kick to everyone off the rip and whether or not I hit it, whatever, right? I could do that and get a card. But I go to Raleigh Open and I do that 3 times, I'm out.
Yeah.
which is kind of more.
Which I think is a better.
It is
better
It's-
structure than.
It's more like the social
I think
structure
it should
that I'm
you should
talking
be
about.
allotted like a little more cards. I don't think it should be 3 because you're still fighting 9 matches.
Why don't
Safety
you believe
is important, man.
Safety is
Safety's
important, and why
Safety
don't
is
you believe
important.
that 3 strikes you're out?
What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And subscribe. Hit the little like button.
Comment.
Comment. Share with your friends.
Notification bell so
All
you know
those
when we
things.
post.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.